I'm John, Mechanical Manager for Elite Renewables. We are installing 2 ground source heat pumps, heating and cooling, and doing a ground array in the field.
All ground source heat pumps need to collect energy in order to work. There are a few ways available we can collect energy. One is a borehole. The other way is to install a ground string, which is basically a long piece of pipe buried about 1 metre below the surface that enables the thermal collector fluid to absorb energy from the ground. Often if someone says to me, I've got quite a large garden, I'm always nervous it's not quite big enough. If they say I've got quite a lot of land, that tells me they've got a real decent area to work with. So we use a manifold in areas where, if for example we've got a number of boreholes or a number of ground strings, it's very important to get the flow exactly the same down each string. So when we are sending thermal fluid down it and it comes back, they all have the same amount of time to absorb the same amount of energy.
Yeah, so we laid the ground strings the other day. Today we were connecting the manifold up, and at the moment we're flushing the system, making sure we've got no leaks. We are on our second day. It takes about a day to pull the ground strings in through the trenches. We use a decoiler, and then it's a day of putting the manifold in and flushing the system.
If the client's got enough ground, it is a cheaper solution to use ground strings, because apart from laying a bit of pipe, it's just having a man with a digger for a short amount of time. If we've got a limited amount of space, we have to go down rather than sideways, and that requires a very specialist rig, and they're obviously pretty expensive. In London, where land is very restricted, 95% of the time we are doing boreholes. Generally clients go for ground source because they are quiet. They're quieter than a fridge. So inside the house there is no noise, outside the house there definitely isn't any. Whereas an air source heat pump, no matter how much you acoustically damp them, there's always some degree of noise. So if a client is particularly noise sensitive or they're in the countryside somewhere, most of them go for ground source because it's a better solution. It's also the most efficient unit you can get. So at this particular project, we're using the ground source for heating and cooling. The cooling is done via chilled water rather than refrigerant gas. And with ground strings, it will work in reverse, whereby the heat from the house warms up the chilled water. That water is then put down the brine circuit through the collector, and the heat is effectively pumped back out into the field. The only slight downside of the ground string is that heat then will evaporate out through the ground, whereas with the borehole, the heat is pumped downwards, and that's where it stays for a long period of time, many months.
If you're thinking about heat pump, solar, battery, MVHR or air conditioning for your property, then contact us at Elite Renewables. You can give us a ring on 020 8706 0056, or you can contact us through our website at eliterenewables.co.uk. We make the process really simple, so we'll have an initial chat where we'll be able to give you a ballpark estimate for your project. We'll then send one of our technical team over to your property to visit you, to understand the property in a bit more detail, and to conduct a detailed survey so that we can give you an exact quote. Contact us by giving us a ring or dropping us an email through our website today.